Imagine the ocean. Vast, cold, full of the mysterious whispers of the deep. The year is 1915. Europe is groaning under the weight of the First World War. But on the surface, in the world of men, an illusion of invincibility persists. An illusion embodied in a single ship. Her name is the Lusitania. A floating palace, a symbol of progress and luxury, the peak of human genius. But every symbol can become a target. On May 7, 1915, in the misty waters off the coast of Ireland, history arranged for it to meet its destiny. This is not just a story of a shipwreck. This is a labyrinth where fact and fiction intertwine, where warfare and mystery collide, and where the lives of nearly 1,200 innocent people were extinguished. Prepare to hear a story that will make you question everything you thought you knew. The Lusitania was the pride of the British merchant fleet. The blue ribbon holder for the fastest Atlantic crossing, the fastest liner of her time. On that May voyage from New York to Liverpool, she was packed with travelers, the wealthy returning home, immigrants seeking their fortune, and citizens of neutral nations who believed in their safety. Captain William Turner, a seasoned sea wolf, had received warnings from the British Admiralty. German U-boats were active off the coast. The Germans had even openly published warnings in American newspapers, stating that passenger ships sailing into war zones did so at their own risk. But the faith in the Lusitania was unshakable. She was traveling at 18 knots, but for reasons still unclear, not at her full speed of 26. Because of a thick fog, she was not zigzagging, the standard evasive maneuver against submarines. It was at this moment, at 2:10 p.m., that the commander of the German submarine U-20, Walter Schwieger, aimed his periscope. One torpedo. A single shot. But witnesses claimed to have heard two explosions. The second one, far more powerful than the first. It was an explosion that ripped the Lusitania in half. The ship sank in an incredible 18 minutes. The cold water of the Atlantic claimed the lives of 1,198 men, women, and children. A tragedy that shocked the world. But within this chaos lies something more. Something so dreadful it makes one wonder, was this simply a tragedy? Or was it, perhaps, a plan? This is where the questions begin, the ones with no easy answers. First, that second explosion. The official version points to exploding boilers. But engineers disagree. The Lusitania's design made such a chain reaction impossible. Perhaps it was a coal dust explosion in the bunkers? Or something else? Something being carried in her holds. Second, the ship's strange behavior. Why had she reduced speed? Why no zigzagging? Why did her naval escort, the cruiser Juno, sent to help, suddenly turn around and leave? As if it had received a mysterious order from the Admiralty. This began to suggest that the Lusitania might have been deliberately set up for the attack. And the central enigma, what was she really carrying? Officially, passengers and civilian cargo. But the manifests listed curious items: 4,200 cases of rifle ammunition, 1,250 cases of shrapnel shells, unaccounted for bales of copper ingots and chemicals. The Lusitania, a civilian vessel, was essentially a floating ammunition depot. The Admiralty insisted on silence. Even Captain Turner, it later emerged, was not fully aware of the entire volume of this civilian cargo. These facts give birth to the darkest theories. One suggests the Lusitania was a sacrifice in a political game. The British government needed to draw the neutral United States into the war. What could do that better than a brutal attack on a ship carrying hundreds of American citizens? Perhaps the Lusitania was intentionally guided into the patrol zone of U-20, with her protection stripped away, to provoke a tragedy. Another, more mystical version, links the liner's demise to a mummy's curse. Heard of it? It involves the sarcophagus of an ancient Egyptian priest, Amenra, which was supposedly transported by the ship. a mummy that brings death to anyone who disturbs it. The sarcophagus was indeed on board, but it was empty. However, can the legend itself, the energy of a curse, hold power? Or was this artifact merely a decoy, meant to hide the true cause of the second explosion, contraband explosives? Analysis of the facts reveals a terrifying logic. If the goal was to bring America into the war, the plan failed initially. The US entered the conflict only 2 years later. But the propaganda victory was total. Germany was branded as barbarians, and Britain gained the moral high ground for any action. The sinking of the Lusitania became a powerful tool for manipulating world opinion. It was the first medieval-age catastrophe where the image of dead children was used as a weapon. So what truly happened on that foggy day? A war crime? A brutal provocation? Or just a tragic confluence of circumstances? The truth likely lies somewhere in between, on the ocean floor, next to the wreckage of the legendary liner. The Lusitania is not just a ship. It is a metaphor. A metaphor for the fragility of our world, where progress and beauty can be destroyed in an instant by political games. It teaches us to trust nothing blindly. Not even the grandest of ships. It forces us to ask, who are we today? The passengers, believing in our safety, naively hoping the storm will pass us by? Or are we the future victims, being led to the slaughter for the interests of others? The sinking of the Lusitania leaves us with one paramount question: what do we choose to see, the convenient official story, or the inconvenient, yet weighty, shadow of the truth that lurks behind it? And, as you listen to the whisper of the ocean, remember, the deepest secrets are not hidden in the depths. They are hidden in the history we are told. And in the one we are never told. Analysis of the facts reveals a terrifying logic. If the goal of British intelligence was truly to draw the United States into the war, then the immediate plan failed. America officially entered the conflict only 2 years later, in 1917. However, the propaganda victory was total. The image of the Germans as barbarians, mercilessly drowning civilians, was forever etched into the minds of millions. The Lusitania became a more powerful tool for manipulating world opinion than any military victory. It was, in essence, the first global medieval-age catastrophe, where photographs of dead children were used as a weapon in the information war. One could even argue that the modern concept of fake news was born then, when one side deliberately remained silent about the provocation, and the other about the ship's true cargo.